Record.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, hi everybody. We have a very big gang today, as you can see. If you're watching, if you're listening, you're going to hear in a minute. So today we welcome Victoria University, and I'm just going to do a little outline of the project that they're working on. So that neuroprotective potential of exercise in individuals with motor neuron disease, the ProtEx-MND project, is a collaboration with Calvary Health Care Bethlehem, and it's received funding from the National Health and Medical Research Council. So the good people who are with me today want to understand if exercise can help maintain functional capacity and muscle and brain health in people diagnosed with MND. Despite the known benefits of exercise in improving physical function and quality of life in different clinical populations, exercise is not currently an integral part of the multidisciplinary care of people with MND. It's weird, isn't it? This is mainly due to the absence of MND-specific exercise guidelines and the limited evidence surrounding the beneficial effects of exercise in this population. So today we're going to delve a little bit deeper into this. So, Alessandra, I'm going to start with you. Firstly, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us
Yes.
of all the whole universe, and then I'll ask you a question. So welcome.
Yes. Thank you, Jane. Hello, everyone. So I'm a principal research fellow at Victoria University, and I always been really interested and passionate about exercise and the concept of exercise is medicine. So how exercise can help in maintain function and quality of life in different population. This is a little bit my background, yes.
Beautiful. So what inspired this particular study?
So, as I said, yeah, I always been passionate about this concept, and I have previously conducted 2 trials about investigating the role of exercise and in people with MND. But what inspired this specific study were 2 elements. On one side, the positive and promising results of the previous studies showing that exercise was the results showing that the exercise were improved, the strength of the people was maintained or even improved after the exercise that we were proposing to them. And the other aspect, the second element, was the positive feedback that we received from the participants, saying that exercise helped them in maintaining in performing their daily life activities. For example, I remember this small thing that someone came to me saying that she could again paint her 2 nails, while before was her daughter doing this. So I would say these 2 elements really inspired this novel idea of this study that exercise could be neuroprotective and therefore help in slow down the degeneration of the motor neurons in people with MND.
I know a lot of people with MND, and I know quite a few of them do have their own exercise regimes, but it's not traditionally a part of the protocol of caring for someone with MND.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why hasn't it been used in the past?
I think that the main reason is the lack of research in the area of exercise MND.
Okay.
And also a lack, in part, I think, a lack of knowledge about about exercise as a precise science and its potential as medicine. I think that the main research previously has focused on understanding if the type and the quantity of exercise that was done before being diagnosed with MND could be a risk factor for developing MND. And the results in this area have been controversial, on one side, studies that have shown that intense and frequent exercise could be one, particularly specific genotype, could be one of the risk of developing MND. And on the other side, other studies that have shown that there is not cause-effect relationship between exercise and developing MND. But these controversial results, I think, have influenced and retarded the introduction of exercise in the care of people with MND. But I think also that the attention has been directed not to another important question, and for me personally the most important question, that is exercise safe and effective in people with MND once they have been diagnosed? And this is different, and lately there have been increasing interest in understanding if an exercise is beneficial once the people has been diagnosed, and also in trying to find the right dose that is the best type and dose of exercise that is the best for people with MND. And the few studies that have investigated this topic, there are not a lot, have shown that exercise is safe and has also some benefits for people with MND.
Well, there's so much media attention focused on sports people who have MND globally. And then I just know from speaking with so many people on this podcast that many of them will say to me, I'd never been fitter prior to being diagnosed with MND. So I can understand why there's a controversy there.
Yeah.
Taking it to a personal perspective, I went back to the gym 6 weeks ago, and just with the targeted approach and proper training, that already in 6 weeks, I mean, I don't have MND, but I'm already feeling better and stronger in my body, and we were coming from a pretty bloody low base because my back was very bad. Hannah, do you want to introduce yourself to us?
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on the podcast, Jane. My name's Hannah Thomas. I'm a postdoctoral research fellow at Victoria University working on this project with Alessandra. Yeah.
So this trial is quite intensive. It goes over 16 weeks, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, we can get to the trick a bit later, but what do you hope to find out from this 16-week program? How many participants would you like to have for it?
Sure. Okay. So I'll start with the first question. What are we hoping to discover? So we know that MND is a neurodegenerative disease, and it's characterized by degeneration of the motor units. And this occurs in both the upper and the lower motor units. So as Alessandra touched on, we know that exercise can be beneficial for people with MND, but there hasn't been a lot of research gone into this. And specifically, what's completely unexplored is the effect of exercise on the brain, the spinal cord, and the skeletal muscle. So the purpose of the project is to understand if moderate intensity exercise can slow down this motor neuron degeneration at multiple levels of the motor unit, so at the brain, the spinal cord, and in the muscle. And then on top of this, we want to explore the benefits of exercise on physical function and quality of life in people with MND. Of course, exercise is not going to cure MND, but it has really great potential to be a strategy for slowing down the progression of the disease. And this has really big implications for quality of life. If we can maintain muscle strength and function in people with MND, then this can really help maintain people's independence for as long as possible. So we think it's really important, both in the really nitty-gritty science area and as well just for function and quality of life. In terms of how many people we'd like to recruit, we are trying to recruit 44 people, so it's quite a huge number.
Okay, so I want to go back to one question. How do you monitor the impact in the brain, the spinal column, and whatever else you said? How do you impact whether
And the muscle?
measure the impact, yeah, and the muscle? How do you measure if this trial is impacting on those particular areas?
So it's sort of like which tests are we doing to measure this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Patricia was going to touch on it in a little bit, but I can sort of briefly go over. So for the brain, we'll be doing some cerebral MRIs to measure brain tissue and blood flow and function and those sorts of things. And then in the level of the spinal cord, we'll be doing some EMG assessments. So a lot of people will have done the pinprick test that tests the nerve function. So we'll be doing that with a surface EMG. So there's no pinprick. It's like a little pad that goes on the skin where we measure what's happening in the neurons there. And then we'll also be doing some assessments within the muscle tissue itself. So a optional part of the study is where we take a piece of muscle and we'll analyze some of the function, so mitochondrial function and things like that, of how the actual muscle tissue is working.
It's a lot of post-traumatic stress about EMG testing, so that's really good that you're doing it that way, because everybody talks about how traumatic it is. So I'm glad
Absolutely.
you're doing it.
It's quite painful, and so it'll be really great. So we're using the technique where we just have a sticky pad and there's no pain involved at all.
So you were talking, and I don't think when we discussed this offline with the 44 people that you need, you are all based at Footscray, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but you've managed to modify the program thus that people wouldn't have to come in every time to Footscray, that they would come in for major milestones, but then you can source a gym in their local area where they would be able to do their exercise as close to home. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So they will need to travel to VU just for the testing sessions where we do the MRIs and the EMG and those sorts of things. And then for the actual exercise program, if there's a gym close by to where they live and the gym approves it, I can, myself or Patricia or Alessandra can travel out to them and do the exercise program closer to where they are.
Okay. I just know from people one person who's been on your trial previously, and that was a bit of a stumbling point for some people getting to Footscray. So that is
Yes.
for me, that's a terrific solution, that you don't have to, if you live on the other side of town, drag yourself all the way over. So that's really beneficial. Patricia,
Absolutely.
you want to introduce yourself to us?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Patricia, and I'm a PhD student working on that specific study with Alessandra and Hannah.
Well done. Patricia's the genius who reached out to me in the first place to say, what we're doing. Will you talk to me? Us? How could I not? What kind of data do you want to collect? What kind of data are you hoping to collect from this trial?
Yeah, so we're actually doing several tests to cover the whole motor system. So as Alessandra and Hannah have already said, that we look at the brain, but also the spinal cord and the muscle. So the upper motor neuron degeneration will be assessed by doing the MRI, as Hannah has already mentioned. And then for the lower motor neuron dysfunction, we measure the EMG with that specific non-invasive technique called high-density surface EMG. And then we also try and record some mitochondrial defects of the muscle, which will be assessed by advanced mitochondrial proteomics. But besides of this, we also have some additional tests that we do to assess more the functional measures. So, for example, we measure the aerobic fitness, but we also measure the muscle strength doing some maximal contractions and also a 10 repetition maximum test Then we measure the lung function, and we also have some clinical measures like the ALS functional rating scale, but also a questionnaire to ask about the quality of life and the fatigue.
Okay, there's a lot of information that you're gathering there.
Yeah.
Have you had any initial feedback that surprised you?
It's a bit too early to say anything about the results, as most of the data has not been analyzed yet. So unfortunately, I can't say anything about the MRI or the EMG or the proteomics results, but we have already found some positive results for some of the other measurements that I've just mentioned. So for example, so we're expecting that the physical function for the people who are in the control group will decrease across the 16 weeks of the study, while the physical function for the people who are in the exercise group will maintain. But what we found is that, for example, one participant who had a poor upper body function at the beginning of the study not only maintained the physical function, but also like even increased the strength while doing the chest press exercise. And another participant who had poor lower body function increased the strength while doing the leg press exercise, and also got much better doing the balance exercises that we're doing. So this was really nice to see. Yeah. And we also received some good anecdotal feedback that the quality of life and also the physical confidence has increased in the people who participated in the exercise program. So yeah, we're really happy about these first results.
Psychologically too, it would make a difference because when you're diagnosed with MND, you're told to potter on home and just get your affairs in order. Whereas this gives you something to work towards, it gives you hope. Yeah, I think it's really exciting. And anecdotally, to get that feedback is fantastic already. Alessandra, over there in Italy. So if you could look ahead, how could the findings from doing the ProtEx-MND shape care and be implemented in caring protocols for people with MND going forward?
So, yeah, if the finding of our study will confirm that exercise is neuroprotective, this will help, we hope that this will help, this result will help in the definition of exercise guideline for people with MND that actually are not present, and these guidelines will be accessible to exercise and health professionals, so that carefully prescribed exercise could be introduced in the care of people with MND, and I hope offered to this population once diagnosed. And exercise that will be specifically targeted to each individual will vary following also the progression of the disease, and so will accompany the people during the progression of the disease, and will be changed during each visit at the clinic. And this will mean that, so I hope that really the results will help in make exercise one of the fundamental part of the multidisciplinary care of people with MND. And I think that this is really my dream.
That's a pretty good dream. And, it doesn't seem inaccessible at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's get on to our guinea pig. I'd like to welcome Neil McPherson and his partner, wife, Lynn. Are you also McPherson, Lynn?
No, I didn't change my name.
There you go. Introduce you as that. So would the two of you like to, well, we'll start with you, Neil. Macca?
Yep.
Who are you? Why are you here?
I'm Neil McPherson, more commonly known as Macca, which is, stuck with me probably since primary school, I guess. There was 3 boys in the family, so Yeah, there was Big Mac, which is my older brother. At the time, I was a Fat Mac, and then there was Little Mac because I had a bit of size about me and so forth. But yeah, Mac has sort of stuck with two of us. The younger one, he's Ross. He gets Roscoe. So yeah, but yeah. So I grew up in Bairnsdale on Dairy Farm until the age of 16, and then came to Melbourne for an apprenticeship with the Victorian Railways. Yeah, played lots of sport, cricket, basketball, football mainly. And yeah, played, well, especially basketball, played that up until I was about 48 or so. And then, yeah, football I had to finish. I'd done my knee when I was 30. So, yeah, that sort of finished that. But, yeah, had a knee reco and kept playing basketball at quite a good level. Yeah, so, yeah, been in railways 52 years. Yeah, started V-Line, so the country passenger service more than the metro service. So, yeah, started off as a fitter and turner apprentice, then went to another workshop in Dynon, just off Dynon Road, where they maintained all the diesel locomotives for Victorian Railways back then as it started. So diesel maintainer for about 9 years, then became a supervisor foreman for about 30 odd years.
God.
And then got a promotion to superintendent of locomotives. Yeah, so that was yeah, total of 52 years so far. Still going into work. Yeah, got a lot of help when I get to work. Management's happy to have me there, mainly for my knowledge and experience and so forth.
There's not too many left with his
No,
experience.
so yeah, a few of the workers will meet me and Lynn in the car park, and they'll just walk me in. I can still walk a bit, so yeah, just have to stop every 40 metres, 30 metres, something like that, just to have a little rest, and then yeah, they take me up to the office, and that's where I spend most of my day. But, yeah, in between the exercise program, which I was doing 3 days a week, yeah, but I was still working weekends at that time, but yeah, back to the normal 7 days a fortnight.
What a fantastic employer.
Yes, yeah. Well, I've had quite a few over the years because with privatisation came different owners and so forth. The current ones are Alstom, which build the trams, and
Yeah.
I think they're building more of the high-speed country trains. So yeah, and I've known most of the management side of things for a long time as well. So yeah, as I say, they're happy to have me there, and I'm happy to go in, and it's good for me mentally to get in there and see friends, have a yarn, talk a bit of rubbish, and
a lot of rubbish. And it's good for the guys to see him.
And the guys, yeah,
they like to see him there.
Happy to see me. So
well, you have a wealth of knowledge, so they'd be crazy to ditch that. So tell us when you were diagnosed with MND.
Diagnosed on the 26th of March in 2023. So yeah, a bit over the two years. However, I reckon it was sort of coming on quite a bit earlier than that. I did have a fall at work off a locomotive, and yeah, so it broke my back and broke my back, had 4 broken ribs, punctured lung, so forth. So that was on the 12th of January in 21. So
okay,
yeah, so I was sort of before that. I was starting to struggle to pull myself up on locomotives, so it's like climbing up a straight ladder and all that sort of stuff. The fall was a mechanical failure in a safety rail, unfortunately. So yeah, fell backwards, 2 or 3 meters
under concrete.
Under concrete, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific.
Yeah, so that knocked me about for a while, and yeah, basically 6 weeks flattened my back, and yeah, so forth. But
You started to come good.
Yeah, because I had the fall at work. They sent me off to physios and gym work and all that sort of stuff, hydrotherapy. So I was starting to come good strength-wise with the gym mainly. I was starting to sort of get maybe 2/3 to normal, and then it sort of just plateaued out over probably 6 or 8 months, and then it started dropping off again. So that's when I went back to my neurologist, who I'd been seeing for quite a few years. I had a neck operation on C5, C6 years ago. So I used to catch up with him every 12 months, and then he done a lot of nerve conduction tests and all that sort of stuff. And
the one Hannah was talking about.
But this was putting the probes everywhere. So in the meantime, I was also going to rehab at in Brighton.
In Brighton. Yeah.
In Brighton, Epworth, in Brighton. And they were doing a lot of measurement sort of stuff of how I was going. I ended up staying in there for a week, just so I could sort of maintain a couple of days a week of exercise, hydro, and all that sort of a couple of times a day. Sorry. So in the end, I was sent up to Bethlehem, and that's when Sarah Lee sort of gave me the diagnosis of everything that had been collected over the probably 12 months, that I had MND.
And that's when everything changed.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So and then I'm talking to her, it was it's pretty bad news, but I'm a realist, so what is it is. So I just no good curling up in the corner, and just keep going about my day. And I spoke to the people at work, told them what was happening, 3 different groups. So and they were pretty upset, I think. Well, they were.
They were.
So and then when I spoke to management about it, they were happy for me to keep going while I can, and I obviously couldn't give them how long I was going to be around or whatever. So that was pretty much the diagnosis part of it, and the time leading up to that. So
Oh, I'm so sorry. Lynn, who are you?
I have to put up with him. No, we've been together.
You've been caring for him for a long time.
Long time, yeah.
We've been surgery, back surgery. Yeah, you're a hero.
So we've been together 52 years this year, same as with the railways, and done everything together, had plans for our future, travel and all the rest. And then, of course, in March 23, that all fell in a hole. So I'm just doing what I've always done. We've always done everything together. And he's been so stoic through all this. He hasn't changed mentally. He keeps everybody else up. Very pleased to see him. He has, as he says, he hasn't curled up in a ball. I'm quite amazed. Hasn't had a bad day mentally. Just keeps going. So we're just trying to do everything normal, not doing anything extra. The exercise program has been an absolute bonus.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. How did you find out about this study?
We saw it on the news. They were on the TV, and they're advertising for volunteers, and we went from there, contacted Calvary, the research people there, and they gave us, and we got in touch with Alessandra and Hannah, and it just went from there. And it's been fabulous. It's been great for both of us, our well-being mentally, physically. For me, I'm actually fitter because I spend the whole time
So you've been doing the exercises too?
No, just taking him around from obstacle, from apparatus to apparatus, taking him in the wheelchair, lifting him up, being with him and being with the girls, the whole camaraderie. It's part of the whole experience, as well as benefiting, well, Macca now and others in the future, hopefully.
So, Macca, before you heard about this program on the news and after you were diagnosed, had anybody mentioned to you at any point the benefits of exercising or not exercising with MND?
Pretty much not exercising. I was still going to the gym after my fall to try and sort of get a little bit stronger again. So I was still going to the gym and still doing hydro once a week. And then when I got diagnosed, it was suggested that I stop the gym. But
who suggested that?
Sarah Lee, I think it was.
Oh, it's basically all the physios and everybody.
Yeah, because I've done the whole gamut at Bethlehem with neurologists, the lung function, all that sort of stuff. And it was suggested that I could keep going with the hydro pool, which I enjoyed a lot, and stop the gym work. So that was sort of the end of the gym stuff.
Because it was the world standard.
Yeah, it was
not to
do
the exercise. So pointless staying with the gym. Yeah.
So just until we saw that comment or the request on the news, I think it was Channel 9. We're looking for people to do it. So that was the start of the program.
So when you knocked on this little gang's door, hello, use me, how did they explain the process to you? And what was the possibility to how did they explain the process to you, program?
Pretty much went through the program. Alessandra spoke a lot about previous programs that she thought were beneficial as far as doing some modified gym work, and then
back in Italy.
Back in Italy, but she was over here obviously, and then Hannah and I think it was pretty much Hannah for a start, went through what the program was and why it was why so much was recorded and measured and all those sorts of things. And then Patricia, sort of come in with the technical
knowledge,
expertise with setting up the the readings and all that sort of stuff. So
and they explained there was the control group and then there was the exercise group. So everybody was hoping for the exercise group. We ended up in the control group. It's still been a benefit. We've still managed to benefit because we've kind of done. I mean, Hannah and Alessandra will be able to explain in more detail, but he's actually done more probably.
Yeah.
So how did you feel before compared with after the 16 weeks? Physically, emotionally, psychologically?
Physically, I reckon I was quite a bit stronger in some areas. Some areas I didn't notice that much, but definitely my legs, my thigh strength, I reckon was quite a bit better at the end of the program. And it sort of gave me more confidence in my movements. I walk around home with a gutter frame, which is under my elbows. So so I was more confident wheeling that around home. And what was that one? Focus. It was sort of mentally it's helped me because I know I can walk around safely around the house, all that sort of stuff. Mentally I'm pretty much the same. Hasn't changed me a lot mentally, but I've always had a good attitude to life.
It's changed me more mentally, probably. It's probably changed me more.
I sort of miss it now, the program, because it was we had good, not so much banter, but I don't think the girls got my humour sometimes.
Girls.
They learned opposing football teams. That became a topic.
Oh, who do you barrack for, Macca?
I'm a Hawthorn man, yeah.
Sorry, Hannah.
And who
Yes,
you vote?
Macca and I often talk about AFL. I go for the West Coast Eagles, which is sad for me.
Yeah, that's really sad. And Macca would
poor
have been
Patricia
sad
picked
last
Carlton.
year too, but you know, this year on the mend a bit.
Yeah.
And you said you think that it was beneficial psychologically for you. Why?
No, me.
Lynn.
Did you say me or him?
Yeah, you.
Me, yeah.
Lynn.
It just felt so good to be able to participate with something with some, especially with Macca having been diagnosed, because it was pretty downhill after diagnosis. But to be able to do something so positive, and the girls were just fabulous. I call them girls because anybody younger than me is a girl. So it helped me because I could see the benefits with Mac and how much he was taking to it. So I was enjoying it just as much as him, yeah, if not more.
The thing that you've said that just resonates so strongly with me is that you had more confidence getting around the house. You have more confidence moving.
Yes.
That, to me, is just, you know, out of everything that's been said so far today, because that I know in our personal situation with my husband, I couldn't. I had to be there with him at all times when he was big.
Yeah. I feel more confident leaving him to do some things. Yeah,
that's extraordinary. Yeah,
and I'll get out on the back deck and just walk up and down with the walker, I think, not the walker, but
the gutter frame.
The gutter frame. Just do 10 laps or whatever, and know that at the end when I turn around and stuff, I'm not going to fall over or my legs are going to give way or anything like that. So it's been been definitely beneficial.
Yeah,
pretty much all over. I mean, I don't show much muscle, but probably more strength than muscle.
But you know, your arms are still moving really well.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I can still. Yeah, they won't hold me up, and I can't get up off the ground physically. But I can do probably most things better and for longer.
And just
you're still feeding himself and things like that.
Well, see, all of those things are amazing. And if you can't get up off the ground, just don't sit on the ground, mate. You know, solution.
No, it's not.
So life isn't all beer and skittles. What did you two find difficult about doing this program?
Well,
probably a little bit like you've mentioned before about the distance.
Where do you guys live? What's
in Moorabbin?
Moorabbin, okay,
yeah.
So Moorabbin to Footscray. Lynn used to work in West Footscray for many years. So it wasn't that much wasn't that much of a hindrance, but
that was the only one we could come up with.
Yeah, that was a
okay.
You're
whining then.
That was it.
And sort of 3 days a week, which the program needed, and we didn't. Probably the traffic was much worse now than when Lynn was working out there. And
we weren't known for being on time. We were always late.
Oh, okay. So they're tardy as well, girls.
But that
no, only sometimes.
Only sometimes. Not every time.
Right. But really, there was nothing negative that we could find. Yeah.
So the option that now exists of being able to go to a gym closer to your home would make a big difference to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. And I think that it would be that'd be right in saying that for people that can't travel as easily as I can, like Lynn driving anyway, and the time and the distance. But if there's a chance for people to be able to do the program in a local gym, that'd be
if they're hesitating, they
fantastic.
should go.
Yeah.
You two, that's my final question to you. So you just jumped the gun.
Sorry.
If anyone with MND was considering joining,
yep,
you would say to them, do it.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure. The daily things that happened in the gym, the girls were pretty flexible. I have had a dodgy shoulder for a while. So yeah, if that wasn't feeling the best, the girls lessened the load a little bit, just to get through the exercise. Very friendly girls. As I say, we did have a bit of banter. I think Patricia had a little bit of trouble understanding the Aussie humour.
she caught on eventually.
Yeah,
She's a bright girl.
yeah. So
Definitely worthwhile.
yeah, it was definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, we would
Friendly.
recommend anybody that was.
Even the people at the MRIs, they were always friendly, helpful.
The biopsy,
the doctor that came in and done the biopsy.
in his bike lycra,
yeah.
in his lycra, that was a good
Yeah.
day.
But yeah, everyone always had a smile on their face, and yeah, I'd do it all again in a heartbeat.
Okay, well, you can't get a better endorsement than that.
No.
So, Hannah, you need 44 people for a 16-week period. Pretty much it can be tailored as best as you can. It will be tailored to make the person with MND and their carer's life as easy as possible. If people are interested in joining this trial, what do they do?
Absolutely. So we'll do everything we can to make it easier for the participant, as well as changing the gym location. They can train at sort of any time of day that suits them best, any day of the week. If anybody is interested, they can either email Alessandra or myself, or give us a call. We can put our email addresses maybe in the podcast link or something like that.
I will put it in the link, and people can always contact me as well, and I can get in touch.
Yeah, and just shoot us an email with any questions, or if you just want to chat and find out more information.
So currently this is only Victorian based, everybody else listening around the country or around the world, but that's not a bad thing, because if it's as potentially as beneficial as everyone's talking about here, then I'm sure the protocol would be expanded Australia-wide, yeah?
I'll hope so. If we can get some good results and publish some stuff with enough people, I would really hope that we can implement this into the multidisciplinary care of people with MND all over Australia.
I know that there will be people listening to this who do their own exercise and know that there's a massive benefit to doing exercise whilst you have MND. So to do it in a controlled environment would be, it's a very exciting program, very exciting. Thank you all for being here today. Macra, it's so nice to meet you. Lynn, it's lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
Likewise.
And Macra and I were talking just before we went to air, in that he and I'm pretty sure that we're related, because he looks like the McPherson side of my family, and they grew up in the same area. So I will be in touch with my mother now, and she will no doubt get back to me in about half an hour saying, yep or no, we're related.
Do you have her first name? Can you say her first name at this stage? Or
Soda?
can you tell us your mum's first name, please?
Faye.
Faye.
She was Faye McPherson.
Faye McPherson. Okay, because I'm on my ancestry. I've been going through the
Yeah.
trees, etc. So I'll see what I can find.
Can you go and have a look, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I will.
All right. Hannah, thank you for being here. Alessandra, in Italy. Whereabouts are you in Italy?
I'm in Milan at this moment. Yeah.
Of course, you're in Milan. You're just in Melbourne, aren't you?
Sorry?
I'm saying Patricia is just in Melbourne. She's not in Milan at the moment.
No, and then I am Melbourne. Yeah.
All right. I wish you all the best of luck with this. I think
Thank
it's exciting. I will do my best to spread the word and see how many people we can get. If 44 is your ideal, what can you cope with? What's the minimal number you need? Is that 44?
Alessandra, you can answer this question if you like.
Yeah, so from when you do a trial, you make an assumption based on statistics. So this was the number done from the statistic, but
Whoop, we just lost Italy.
Oh, my lamb just dropped it.
And
Maybe I'll jump in. Ideally, I think the minimum number that we would need would be 10 people for each group. So 10 people who go into the exercise group and 10 people to go into the control. And I will just mention that everybody who does go into the control group does get to still complete the exercise program, which is exactly what Maka did.
and that was extremely beneficial. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, sorry we've lost Milan, but you know,
No worries.
that's life.
Anna replied, so it was good.
There you are. You're back. All right, everyone. Thank you so very much. And Maka and Lynn, I look forward to meeting you in human one day.
That'd be
Yes,
good.
would love
Yes.
to. Thank you. Thank you for
Absolutely.
Thanks
inviting
so
us.
much,
It's been a
Jane, for
pleasure.
your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. Bye, Maka
Yeah.
and Lynn.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.